Bend light to your will to blind your opponents and take the game with Lux, Lady of Luminosity, straight from the Riftbound Proving Grounds. And if you're looking for how to play her, here's everything you need to know. Lux is a legend of the Mind and ORder domains that lets you draw a card whenever you play a spell that costs 5 or more. Giving your spells a cantrip ability to replace themselves with a new card means we'll always have a grip full of cards to play, especially when we're using spells like our signature Final Spark, an 8-cost action spell that deals 8 to a unit. When we use it to remove one of our opponent's best units, we then draw a card off our legend, and we end up 1 card in the exchange. Our legend is accompanied by 2 champion units, Lux Illuminated and Lux Crown Guard. Lux Illuminated is a 6-cost 1 Mind Recycle unit with 5 might, and a triggered ability that gives her 3 might for the turn whenever you play a spell that costs 5 or more. So now all of our spells cost 5 or more, give +3 might, and draw a card, in addition to their innate abilities. But to really start rocking, we have Lux Crown Guard, a 4-cost 2 might recycle unit that lets you exhaust her as a reaction to generate 2 runes that can be used only to play spell cards. So together, we can play our 5 to 10 cost spells, 2 runes ahead of our curve, draw a card off it, and add additional might to one of our units. So generally, we want to combine units with spellcasting bonuses or singularly powerful units with a grip full of spells rather than trying to establish a very huge board, which will greatly inform the battlefields we'll be choosing today. We want battlefields that will allow us to navigate this game with fewer units while chaining spells together, like Obelisk of Power, which allows both players to generate an extra rune at the start of the game, which for us looking for 5-cost spells or more puts us 1 step closer to cantripping. A similar option is Targon's Peak, that says when you conquer here, ready 2 runes at the end of this turn, allowing you to pour your resources into conquering the battlefield, but then you also retain runes active so you can use them on your opponent's turn for reaction spells. Depending on the type of spells we build out our deck with, you can also utilize Void Gate to get some extra value out of them. This battlefield makes spells and abilities affecting units here each deal 1 bonus damage. Focusing more on supporting our units, we can look to a battlefield like Reaver's Row, which says when you defend here, you may move a friendly unit here to base. Compared to other decks, we're likely to have less units, meaning we need to pick and choose our battles so we don't waste time and runes to deploy replacement units. This battlefield lets us do just that, by pulling our units out of danger to utilize them on our next turn backed with spells. We can also make our units combat ready with Fortified Position, which reads when you defend here, choose a unit. It gains shield 2 this combat, giving that unit 2 might while it's a defender. Now we can create a large power gap between our singular units and our opponent's units before having to burn spells. And to help dig for our most important tools in any matchup, battlefields like Candlelit Sanctum and Grove of the God Willow will reward you with card selection. Now, normally we start by taking a look at our units, but in this deck, the spells are the real MVPs. So we're going to look at the most impactful ones to combine with our legend. Let's start with spells that cost 5 or more that will give our legend the most value. First is Imperial Decree, a 5-cost 2-order recycle action spell that says when any unit takes damage this turn, kill it. This is great for comboing with spells and abilities that split damage, as well as in multiplayer matches where your opponents are fighting over a battlefield. Speaking of multiplayer, this King's Edict is also great, but only in multiplayer formats. As a 6-cost 2-order recycle, it makes each other player choose a unit you don't control that hasn't been chosen for this spell and kills them. Great once the board has been whittled away to just a few key characters. But back to standard games. Unchecked Power is your go-to board wipe. For 7 cost and 2 mind recycle, you exhaust all friendly units, then deal 12 to all units at battlefields. This spell is particularly powerful since we typically won't have many units to lose out on by exhausting in our spell-based deck. Another way we'll bring the game to a close is Time Warp, a 10-cost 4-mind recycle spell that lets you take a turn after this one, while also banishing this spell to prevent you from buying it back. With Time Warp, we can immediately claim our end of the game conquer of all battlefields, or create a perfect 1-2 punch by deploying our units to conquer, then immediately starting a new turn for hold triggers, and setting up our next set of spells to defend. If our opponents are really slowing things down, Progress Day is a great way to keep the cards flowing. For 6 cost and 1 mind recycle, draw 4 cards. Sorry, draw 5 cards, thanks to our legend. Singularity is a 6-cost 2-Mind Recycle spell that deals 6 damage and can be split among up to 2 units, while Falling Comet can deal 6 as an action to any 1 unit at a battlefield for just 5 cost. Or forget about damage and lean on Blast of Power instead, a 6-cost 1-order recycle action spell that kills a unit at a battlefield. And if we need help claiming our last few battlefields or need to go up against some token armies, Recruit the Vanguard can work as an action speed unit. For 6 cost, it'll create 4 recruit tokens to your base while triggering our legend and champion. Don't forget, all these cards trigger our legend, so each of them also say draw the card. We do have one more spell to lean on, but it's more of a break glass in case of emergency type deal. Divine Judgment, a 7-cost 2-order recycle spell that has each player choose 2 units, 2 gear, 2 runes, and 2 cards in their hand, then recycle all other cards. Big risk, big reward, but it's a great equalizer you may just need. But in a Spells Matters deck, all spells matter. So Order and Mind staples like Consult the Past, Smokescreen, Stupefy, Retreat, Hidden Blade, and Vengeance all have a place in this deck as well. And since we're revolving around high cost spells, which come with high recycle costs, you may consider playing gear like Seal of Unity and Seal of Insight to keep your rune count healthy, or Energy Conduit to help generate an additional 1 rune cost. Spells Matter decks typically play very reactively, meaning we're trying to weave actions around our opponents and prepare for the matchups that we expect to play at our local metagame or whatever event we're going to. So your final spell selection will have more to do with representing what you think you'll be facing more than a direct wrong and right for the deck. Just like we prepare videos, just like this one, up to 2 weeks early for our members who receive this and other perks like emotes to thank them for supporting the channel. Seriously, we couldn't be doing 2 card games without your support. Like I said before, spells can only take us so far, so let's look at the units that we'll be enlisting to conquer those battlefields. Eager Apprentice is an easy include in this deck. As a 3-cost 3-might unit, they reduce the cost of your spells by 1 to a minimum of 1 while they're on the battlefield. By its card text, Ravenbloom Student could work well in our deck as a 2-cost 2-might unit with when you play a spell, give me +1 might this turn. However, since we're more interested in playing a single big spell rather than playing multiple small spells in the same turn, Ravenbloom Student typically feels like more of a deck building trap. But maybe they're better in your build. Meanwhile, Echo Recurrent is a great way to shift gears in a game. As a 5-cost recycle 1 mind, 5-might unit, Echo has Accelerate, allowing you to pay 1 and recycle 1 mind to have him enter ready to quickly take a battlefield. And on his death, you're able to recycle him to ready your runes, allowing you to sling additional spells in a turn after already trading with your opponent's units or spells. Kaisai Evolutionary goes crazy in this deck. She's a 6-cost 1-mind recycle 6-might unit with ganking, allowing you to always put her at the most advantageous battlefield. Then, when she conquers, you may play a spell from your trash with energy cost less than your points without paying its energy cost, then recycle it. So we can sling multiple large spells in a turn and play spells over the 3-copy limit by casting it from our trash, and then recycling it back to the deck to maybe play later. And when it comes to holding your spaces, no one solos them better than Shen Qingguo, a 3-cost 1-order recycle 3-might unit that you can play as a reaction. Meaning when you hold up runes to interact with your opponent and they don't give you the opening to play good spells, you can still commit a unit to the board before you lose out on spending them. And with Shield 2 and Tank, he'll allow you to set up for any fight backed by your large spells. I'd also like to recommend looking at Leona Determined, if your local metagame has a bit more mid-range unit-based decks running around. She's a 4-cost 1-order recycle with 4 might and shield. Plus, when she attacks, you get to stun an enemy unit at the battlefield. This pairs really well when fighting over a battlefield like Reaver's Row, where she can attack with her stun advantage, back out when your opponent tries to take it back using the defender ability of Reaver's Row, then send her back in next turn to stun again. We want to play reactive with this deck. Don't worry about letting your opponent conquer battlefields or play ready units faster. Respond effectively and efficiently to their threats, creating openings for our units to claim battlefields in fights they will surely win. Then, once you whittle away at your opponent's resources, we can just go over the top with a time warp to wrap things up. And as always, here are a couple of deck lists to get you started. This list took 6th place in a popular all-night tournament by Max DePera. And this is the list I've been playing at the time I'm making this video. And if you're looking for more champion guides or some more fun Riftbound content, check out the channel and subscribe.